folks, it's another week in review where me and other reviewers take a look at the past week at the games we've reviewed. These are quick rundowns of whether they're good or not, and if you're more interested, you can check out the reviews. After a couple hours of this is posted, there's usually links to all the reviews in the description. Anyhow, here we go.
Sam Healy here, and last week I was able to take care of, first of all, this little guy right here. Pirates, ninjas, robots, and zombies. Very light on theme, and not even really heavy on mechanics. It's just kind of a kind of game, but check it out. Maybe you'll like it. Then I was also able to take care of Spyfall. Spyfall is a game that we have played and talked about a lot on the Dice Tower, and it is much deserved hype, I think. One of my favorite party games. Hidden roll deduction game. Check it out, Spyfall. And then I was also able to do a review of this game right here called Aetherium. It is a two-player miniatures modular board movement game with some interesting combat mechanics and really cool dice. And the way they use those dice is really cool with the attack profiles and everything. Go check that review out. Then I was also able to do another Battling Brushes video with Rob Oren, where Rob does some detailing and base work on his models, and then I'm finishing up my Stormcast Eternal Commanders so that we can get that live playthrough done next Friday. So be looking for that as well. And then we're also going to be running an auction this month for that base set of Age of Sigmar. So keep an eye out for that. See you on the flip side, folks.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. This week I reviewed 5 games. I reviewed Akrotiri, a 2-player tile laying pick up and deliver game, which is very nice, has quite a bit in this little box. Again, it's only for 2, but it's a very interesting game for 2. I reviewed Dino Twist, which is a very attractive little card game, very simple game. I think it's going to go over well with kids. Maybe 7, 8 years old, about that age or higher. It's very straightforward, simultaneous selection. I liked it. I reviewed T.I.M.E Pflaumen. This is a trick-taking set collection game with, again, very nice artwork. An unusual trick-taking game, but one that I think people who enjoy the genre are really going to take to. Check this one out. And then 2 games that I really liked. The first one is Eco, a gorgeous-looking abstract game with a lot of conflict, a convoluted storyline, but who cares? It's really an abstract, and it's a great, great abstract. And then one of my favorite games of the year, Karuba, tile-laying game, simultaneous play. It's a very solitaire game, but a beautiful puzzle. Really enjoyable experience, very quick game also, about 30 minutes. Really top-of-the-line game here. And that was it for me this week. I'll see you next time.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm Forrest from Bowers Game Corner. This is my week in review. The first game I checked out was Candy Grab. This is a delightful family/children's weight game where you're going to be playing cards and trying to eat other people's candy and be the last one remaining with candy in front of you. It's not a bad game. It's got some cool mechanisms that that makes it so there's no player elimination. If you're looking for a family/children's game, it's not a bad one to check out. Next, I checked out Pocket Sports Football. I love football. I love dice chucking games. I love portable games, and I was incredibly disappointed in this game. It's boring, that has no real choices. You just roll the dice to do what they do, roll the dice to do what they do, roll the dice to do what they do. Just not my cup of tea. Last but not least, I checked out The Last Spike, and this is a great gateway/game night/family game. It hits all different gambits. Aside from being a little bit less tense at 2 players and a little bit too long at 6 players, this is a fantastic little game to check out. Highly recommended. This has been my week in review. If you enjoyed it, do the bye.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Last week I reviewed Bomb Squad Academy. This was a little mini card game that came with in the Kickstarter with Bomb Squad itself. It's a standalone game. It's about guessing and bluffing and deduction. And in the end, it was just average at best. My Village is a sequel to the Village popular board game that came out. It's a more of a dice placement, dice manipulation game of Village. For me, it's okay for Euro gamers, probably will like it. It was a little too straight Euro for me, but they might like that new dice placement mechanism. I then reviewed Bottom of the Ninth. This is a 1 or 2 player Game where you're going to be rolling dice like crazy, trying to be safer out. You got the stare down where you're trying to bluff the other player. Very thematic, a lot of fun, a small little filler game, a lot of fun. Klask, this is one of the most unique dexterity games I've ever played. Has a wonderful story of how it came about, and it is a ton of fun. I do a live playthrough in my overview. It's almost like this crazy floating air hockey type of thing, but it's small, it's handmade, it's awesome. Check that out. That was the best game of the week, was Klask.
Hey everybody, 12 games for you this week, trying to catch up after a 2-week hiatus. First thing is I did another blacklist entry. You can see several of the games scrolling up here. Gave quite a bit of time to each game in that particular vlog, so go ahead and check it out. Gave more formal reviews to the following. First one is Black Hat. Very unique, interesting trick-taking game with a board. Has kind of a hacker theme. Lots of cool different modules you can kind of plug in, play with. Very interesting game. If you like trick-taking games, definitely give it a look. Next one is Ships, which is a Martin Wallace game, and it's a very cool game, very much a return to kind of Wallace's typical sort of medium heavy Euro form, but it also has a kind of a cool civilization theme sort of underneath the cover. It's very neat. Next is Above and Below. This is a new game from Ryan Lockett at Red Raven Games. It's kind of a Euro smashed with Tales of the Arabian Nights. You do some exploration in the game where you open up a book and then read entries and get choices. Very nice Euro, and also some very nice stories that are sort of tied into the Euro, I think, very intrinsically, so very good. Next one is Traders of Osaka. This is a reprint of Traders of Carthage. This is from Z-Man Games, plays 2 to 4 players. Hard to explain the game without it sounding very dry and dull. It's kind of a trading in the Far East game with lots of card play and interacting with cards. Definitely take a look at it. I've had to enjoy this game in the original form, and then now the new form looks stellar. Nice production. And then finally, The Bloody Inn, which is a very awkward theme where players are sort of caretakers at an inn, and you're kind of luring in guests and then killing them and then taking their money, which is horrible, but it actually is super funny. And the gameplay is actually really good. It took me a little bit of time to warm up with this, but we really got into it. And again, there's some different sort of variants you can play with. You kind of find the one you like, I think. But at its core, very fun sort of dual purpose card game with a really crazy theme. Okay, thank you.
All right, for me, first, the Peloponnes card game. I found this to be an interesting game where all the mechanisms worked, except I didn't like the way they worked. Constantly you're being beat down, there's lots of negative things happening to you the entire game, and I felt like the game just was too depressing to be fun. Curse of the Black Dice is an interesting idea. It's a semi-cooperative game where you're rolling dice trying to match the dice on a ship. The problem is it's semi-co-op, which means if one person's losing, they can pretty much tank the whole game because why should they try to help everybody win or one other person win? Dark Stories is a fun game, although the game is kind of loose. This is more of a set of cards where you read a mystery and everyone else asks yes or no questions until they figure out the entire mystery. You can play with 2 to, 1,000 players. Kabuki is a memory game. This is a reprint of a small Japanese game where you're flipping over cards onto piles, but you don't want to put the exact same card in a pile twice, or someone can call you out for it. Exoplanets is a Euro-style game in which you are putting life and then new species on different planets that are out there. You're going to use planet tiles, you're going to use actions to take your turn, a solid Euro game. Andromeda is a game in which you have discovered an ancient spaceship and your alien race wants to get on it. I liked it because there's some interesting features to it. The most interesting of all is a dice mechanism where you roll dice and then you split those between everyone else, but it's basically you split and then someone else chooses whether they want that group or not. Ninja Camp is a card game very similar to Hey, That's My Fish, where you're going to be moving ninjas around from card to card, then gathering those cards in your hand. The board will get smaller as time goes by. I liked it. My Village. I did not like the original game Village. I like this one better with dice allocation. There are many different strategies to victory. I found that there's a lot of setup, but the game was still fun overall. Hungry as a Bear. This one gets the rating it does because it is great for its age group, which is 2 to 5 years old, where you basically are feeding things to a bear. My son enjoyed this one. Mow Money is an auction-style game with a silly name and kind of a silly theme, but a theme that's not used very often. The game is where players are trying to bid to get different lawn contracts, but you want to have the low bid, so you're the one who gets the money. Bid too low and you don't get any money. lots of fun, and fits up to 6 players very easily. Estoril 1942. This one is not yet in America, which is unfortunate because it's a very good spy game. Unfortunately named, it's basically should have been called Spy vs. Spy. Area control with special powers. A very fun game. The expansion for Abyss, the Kraken. This adds stuff that I think almost everyone is going to like it. It doesn't add much new. There's a loot deck that I think some people won't like because it adds a bit of push your luck and some heavy point swings, but you don't have to play with that. The rest of it, the black pearls are really, really good, and they will change how the game plays very much because they're money, but it's dirty money. I like it. Scharfe Schoten, I think is this one how to pronounce, or Pepper. This is a trick-taking game in which players are predicting which color they're going to take the most tricks in and which color they're going to take the least tricks in, except you can see the backs of the cards so you know what color everyone has. You just don't know what numbers. And there's also 4 super trumps. I like trick-taking games, and this is one of the best. Brick Party, a very silly game in which you're building with essentially Lego blocks. They're not Lego blocks, but very similar to that, except you're not building them. You're telling someone else what to do, and there's some kind of penalty that's been put upon you. Very silly, fun party game. And then Klask. This thing is expensive and it's big, but it's a magnetic where you put your thing underneath the table, you're moving it around, trying to hit a ball into someone else's goal, but there's also magnets on the board you have to avoid. Oh, this game has gone over well with everyone that I've played. So, those are the games I reviewed this week. Guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time for another week in review.